The Six-Day War was a war that took place in the Middle East for 6 days, from June 5th to June 10th, 1967. The war began when Egypt, Jordan, and Syria attacked Israel. Through a preemptive strike, Israel shot down Egypt's air force and defeated the armies of Jordan and Syria.
As a result of the war, Israel seized the Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip from Egypt, the West Bank and Old City of Jerusalem from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria. This change led to the displacement of millions of Palestinians and the creation of the Palestinian refugee problem. The war also led to the hardening of positions on both sides of the Arab-Israeli conflict.
On April 4, 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. King was a civil rights leader who fought for the rights of African Americans in the United States. He was assassinated while standing on the balcony of his motel room. King's assassination was a major blow to the civil rights movement and sparked a wave of violence and unrest across the United States. The event also led to a renewed call for racial equality and justice. On July 20, 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon. This was a major milestone in human history and a testament to the ingenuity and perseverance of humankind. The Apollo 11 mission was the culmination of years of planning and preparation. It was also a major victory for the United States in the Cold War space race with the Soviet Union. The Apollo 11 moon landing had a profound impact on the world. It inspired people all over the globe and showed what is possible when we work together. It also led to a new era of space exploration. On November 12, 1970, the Bhola Cyclone struck the Ganges Delta region, which is now modern-day Bangladesh. It is considered to be the deadliest tropical cyclone in modern history, with an estimated death toll of 500,000 people. The cyclone caused a massive storm surge that inundated the low-lying coastal areas of East Pakistan. The storm surge destroyed homes, infrastructure, and crops. Millions of people were left homeless and without food and water. The Bhola cyclone was a major humanitarian disaster. The international community responded quickly to provide aid to the victims of the cyclone. However, the disaster had a devastating impact on East Pakistan and set back its development by many years. The Bangladeshi War of Independence broke out in 1971. This war began when the Pakistani government used force to suppress the independence of East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh. The Pakistani army committed indiscriminate mass killings and sexual violence, resulting in millions of deaths. This war received great attention from the international community and ultimately ended in victory for Bangladesh, supported by India and the Soviet Union. Bangladesh's independence marked a major change in the geopolitical landscape of the Indian subcontinent and had a significant impact on nationalist movements around the world.
The Munich Olympics disaster occurred in 1972. On September 5, 1972, the Palestinian militant group Black September took 11 Israeli athletes hostage at the Olympic Village in Munich, West Germany. Black September threatened to kill the players if the Israeli government did not release Palestinian prisoners held in Israel. The German government attempted to negotiate, but the hostage rescue operation failed on the night of September 5th, with the militants killing all 11 Israeli athletes and a German police officer. The incident shocked the world and raised concerns about the safety of the Olympics. On October 6, 1973, Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel, sparking the Fourth Middle East War.
This war was a counteroffensive by Arab countries to retake the Sinai Peninsula and Golan Heights that they had lost in the 1967 Six-Day War. Egypt and Syria had the upper hand in the early stages of the war, but an Israeli counteroffensive turned the tide. Finally, on October 24th, the war ended with an armistice agreement mediated by the United Nations. The Fourth Middle East War resulted in Israel retaining the Sinai Peninsula and Golan Heights. The Fourth Middle East War caused an oil crisis that had a huge impact on the world economy.
On April 30, 1975, the Vietnam War ended with the Vietnamese People's Army occupying Saigon. The Vietnam War lasted for 20 years from 1955 to 1975 and was fought between the United States and South Vietnam against North Vietnam and the Viet Cong. This war was the longest and costliest war in American history. The end of the Vietnam War was a great shock to the United States and the world. The United States was recognized as having lost the Vietnam War, and the world recognized that American hegemony was shaky. On February 11, 1976, Iran's Islamic Revolution led to the ouster of King Mohammad Reza Pahlavi and the appointment of Ayatollah Khomeini as a supreme leader. However, the Iranian Revolution was a long-term process that began with Iranian demonstrators protesting against the government on December 1, 1978. And continued until February 11, 1979, when King Pahlavi went into exile. This incident brought about a major change in the Cold War structure and was an event that demonstrated the rise and influence of Islamism globally. As a result of the Iranian Revolution, Iran was created as an Islamic republic, and relations between the United States and Iran deteriorated. Additionally, the Iranian Revolution had a significant impact on the political situation in the Middle East, leading to the events such as the Iraq-Iran War and the Iran hostage crisis. In December 1978, Chinese President Deng Xiaoping announced the policy of reform and opening up. This policy had a significant impact on the development and globalization of China's economy, leading to China's rapid development in the second half of the 20th century. On November 4, 1980, Iranian students and militiamen took 66 Americans hostage at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, the capital of Iran. The incident worsened relations between the United States and Iran and lasted for 444 days. On February 28, 1980, Iraqi President Saddam Hussein invaded Iran, sparking the Iran-Iraq War. The war continued for 8 years until it ended on August 20, 1988, with both sides suffering extensive loss of life and property. On April 2, 1982, Argentina's military dictatorship launched an invasion of the Falkland Islands, claiming sovereignty over them. Britain immediately counterattacked and war broke out. The Falklands War lasted 74 days and ended with British victory.
Britain recovered the Falkland Islands, and Argentina's military dictatorship collapsed. On January 28, 1983, the American Space Shuttle Challenger exploded shortly after launch, killing all 7 astronauts on board.
The Challenger explosion dealt a major blow to the U.S. space program and caused national shock in the United States. On April 26, 1984, an explosion occurred at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant located in Soviet Ukraine.
This accident resulted in a large-scale radiation leak and devastated nearby areas due to radioactive contamination. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant accident was the worst nuclear accident in human history and had an impact on the Cold War.
On April 15, 1989, immediately after the death of former Chinese chairman Mao Zedong, protests demanding democratization took place in Beijing, the capital of China. Protesters demanded freedom, human rights, and democratic reforms. The Tiananmen democratization movement made China's demand for democratization known to the world, but the Chinese government's hardline suppression resulted in many casualties. The 24th Summer Olympics, held in Seoul, South Korea from September 17th to October 2nd, 1988, was a large-scale international event with 9,340 athletes from 161 countries participating. The Cold War ended with the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1989. At this point, the United States emerged as the world's only superpower. The Internet began to spread in 1989 with the birth of the World Wide Web. The spread of the Internet has rapidly changed human life, and the world now shares an ocean of information. Iraq invaded Kuwait on August 2, 1990, leading to the Gulf War. The war lasted for 7 months, and the United States-led coalition forces defeated Iraq's military. West Germany and East Germany reunited on October 3, 1990, to form the Federal Republic of Germany. This was a major milestone in the Cold War.
Anti-apartheid leader Nelson Mandela was released from prison on February 11, 1990, after 27 years of imprisonment. This event was a major victory for the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. The anti-apartheid movement was a political movement that fought against the apartheid system in South Africa. Apartheid was a system of racial segregation and discrimination that was enforced by the white minority government. From April 29th to May 4th, 1992, the Los Angeles riots, also known as the Rodney King riots, occurred.
The riots were sparked by the acquittal of 4 LAPD officers who had been videotaped beating Rodney King, a black man. Korean Americans were among the biggest victims of the 1992 Los Angeles riots. The riots quickly spread to various areas of the city, and Korean Americans were targeted with looting and violence. There are a number of reasons why Korean Americans were targeted in the riots.
One reason is that they were seen as outsiders by both the black and white communities. Korean Americans were also often stereotyped as being wealthy and successful, which made them targets of resentment. Many Korean Americans lived in areas of the city that were heavily looted and burned. Thank you for watching the video, History of Mankind Part 7, provided by History and Current Events. Gina, Bella, Cindy, Helena, and Tony have contributed so far as narrators. Thank you.